Hey everyone, this is Ethan Hunt. God's been putting on my heart I need to speak for a long time. I haven't been able to find the spot where I'm supposed to be speaking via church or anything else. And God kind of put on my heart, why not speak on YouTube? Where there's people listening and lots of people who are looking for answers, who have the internet and stuff. I'll give you a little bit of my history. I grew up in an abusive home. Really bad situations. From there on, I went into foster care, and it was pretty rough. I went through a lot of stuff and a lot of neglect, and I always felt like I wasn't a part of the family. Like, I just wasn't supposed to be nobody's son. I wasn't good enough. I wasn't worth nothing. And it was always, I couldn't find anybody to understand what I was going through. And I went through this for a very long time, and it was pretty bad. I didn't really have no hope. The only hope I found is when I would look in the Bible once in a while and I'd see glimmers of hope, and this brought me through it. Anyways, at my place where I was staying, my adopted home, they were pretty strict. They had alarms on the doors, and you couldn't just eat and drink whenever you wanted to. I'd often go thirsty, and I was hungry all the time, and so I ended up sneaking a water bottle full of water into my bedroom, and I hid it on the side of my bed, and this is how I would nourish myself with drink, is whenever I'd get thirsty, I'd drink from this bottle. Well, the thought never occurred to me that if you don't wash the bottle, something's going to grow in it. And one day, I just started bleeding profusely, and it was like black rotten blood, and it really scared me. And I went and told my adopted mom, and they thought I had a bloody nose or something, that's what was going on, and that's not really what happened. And I told them, and we waited a little bit longer, and it kept happening. So finally they took me to the emergency room, and it was one of the scariest times of my life. The doctors had never seen anything like this. They didn't know what was going on. And basically I had a flesh-eating bacteria that was eating me from the inside out. And the doctors basically told them that they didn't know what was going on. They didn't know what to do. They're probably going to have to do blood transfusions, and they might lose me. And I remember everyone finally started giving me attention. They started telling me how much they loved me, and as I was dying, I actually felt like I was a part of something. I actually enjoyed it because I was getting attention and love and stuff. I enjoyed that part. But the worst part was when everyone would go home and I was left alone in that hospital bed. And one night I was at my wit's end, and I didn't know what to do, and I just cried out to God. I said, Lord, if you heal me, I will be your servant for the rest of my days. And it was a cry of desperation. And the next morning I woke up, and the doctors couldn't find anything wrong with me. And I was, they let me out of the hospital without no explanation. I was just miraculously healed. And that's the first time when God really did a miracle in my life and showed me that He was there. Well, it seems like most people, if something like that would happen, they would automatically give their whole lives to God. Well, that wasn't the case for me. I grew up, I did pretty good in this home, but eventually I grew rebellious, and I ran away. I was just tired of it, and I ran away, and I made some new friends on the outside, Um, I went through a lot, and when I was adopted and whatever, I never really dated anybody because it was so strict. Well, the first thing on my heart is get out and date someone right away. So I talked to my biological mom, and they set something up with this girl with me, and I was excited, and I was all in. I didn't care. It wasn't about beauty. It was just about relationship. And she was different, and I really enjoyed her and everything. And as I plugged in deeper and deeper, I found stuff in our relationship that was really disturbing. And I caught her with other guys a few times, and every time that would happen, it would just break my heart. She would say that they were just friends, but they'd always hang out together and stuff. It was just so heartbreaking, and I was at the lowest of lows. Like, in the beginning, everything was great. It felt like, love, love, love. Then this happened, and I would always find her with other men and stuff, and finally she said she wanted to break up with me. And it felt like my heart was just crushed. And I was so in love with her still. I didn't know where to turn to. I didn't know what to do. And I couldn't let go of her. She was my life. She was everything I was living for. And I was just infatuated with her, and I loved her so much, and I couldn't even explain how much I loved her. And she started dating this other guy, and it was so hard for me to see her with the other guy and stuff. And I remember she used to keep a diary. I remember picking it up one day and just writing her a love note, a goodbye, just saying I love you so much and everything. And that's when stuff really hit the fan. It was like fuel to her fire. It really got her going and excited, like it was a fun game to her. That's when she started tugging me along. I would find her and her friend doing witchcraft sometimes, making potions, doing spells and stuff. So I guess this could have been part of the infatuation with her. I don't know if it was some kind of witchcraft or not, but I caught them doing it at times. But back then I didn't really care, because I didn't really have no place to stand on a firm foundation. Whatever went. So just basically she'd hang out with this guy, she'd make out with this guy in front of me and everything, and it was just way too much for me. So finally, at the time I was living with her friend, so she'd always be over there and stuff. And then finally I just said, enough's enough. I don't want you in my life no more. I'm leaving. And I moved in with my biological mom. And, I thought things were starting to look up. I found another girl. Basically, she was a rebound. I just wanted somebody to fill that gap, that void that was left there. And I remember I kissed this girl in school, and my ex seen it, and she was furious for some reason. I don't understand. And eventually, I had an appointment with my mom, so I was out of school the whole day. And my mom kept telling me, she's like, you might as well just stay home because the whole school day is almost ended. And I wouldn't listen. I loved being in school. I loved climbing the ranks of popularity, because I never did that at my old school, in my adopted home. But in this school, I actually was somebody. I was off my medication. I used to take medication at my adopted home, and it would put me in a stupor. I was self-conscious, and it was really hard for me to make friends and stuff. But after I ran away and stuff, I quit taking it, and I started climbing the ranks of popularity, and it just felt so good to me. So I wanted to go back to school. I love school. And I just remember I went to my, I think, English class, and all my friends, they're scared of me. And I asked them, why, what's wrong? Why are you guys afraid of me or whatever? And they said they heard I had a gun in a hit list. And I'm like, oh, whatever, you know, I laughed it off and whatever. And I didn't think it was anything. And I guess there's reports of me chasing the girls to the women's bathroom with a gun and different foolish things I just laughed at. I thought people are just, you know, yanking my chain, just joking with me or whatever. No, actually, that was my history class that happened in. The next class I went to was English. And I remember there is cops and dogs everywhere. And I asked somebody, I'm like, what's going on? They're like, oh, they're probably just doing a drill where they check the lockers and look for drugs. So I'm like, oh, okay. And then the school went on lockdown. And all of a sudden, you know, things were slowly setting in, but I still was naive about it. And then finally a cop comes in and he says, "Is Ethan here?" And nonchalantly I just throw out my hand and I'm like, "Over here." You know, I wasn't thinking. And they go, "On the ground, on the ground, on the ground," and they throw me to the ground. And that's when reality set in. It just felt like I was stung by 1,000 scorpions. It was just the most embarrassing part of my life, you know. They emptied out my bag and I had a Bible and some schoolwork, and you know, it was humiliating in front of my whole class. I could see the fear in my classmates' faces, and the friendships that once were there were no longer there. I was a monster, you know. And I guess I started laughing because I was just so humiliated, you know. So I just started laughing, and I guess everyone thought I was nuts and crazy or whatever. And I was handcuffed and put in the back of a police car, and I sat there for what seemed like eternity. And I just looked about me, cop cars all over the school parking lot. It felt like I was in a dream or something. Like, I would have never thought this would happen to me. And at that point in the car, I put it in my mind, I'm never going back to this school ever again. I'm done. I'll find another way to make it. And they took me to the police station, and I thought I was going away for this false accusation, this rumor that had went around. I had no hope. I prayed, and that's the best I could do. And I was getting interrogated at the police station, and what seemed like forever too. Finally they brought me out, and my sister and mom were there, my biological, and they had gotten me out, and somehow they got me out of there. And you know, I watched the news, and it was all over the news, and my family was asking if I really did it, and it was just a mess. And I just, you know, I totally plugged away. I didn't want to be in that town no more. And I had a brother that was chief of nuclear medicine out in Boston, Massachusetts. And I just told my mom I didn't want to live in that town no more. I was done. I wanted to go live with him. And, you know, eventually the strings got pulled and everything got situated, you know. But the main reason I'm telling you guys this is this has been such a deep, big crater in my life. It's been so hard to get through. It's been very, very difficult. You know, forgiveness. Basically, I moved out to Boston, and it was with the same thing with me. I just wanted women. I got really addicted to porn. I was looking at porn countless hours a day. It just overtook my life. I I started smoking cigarettes. I just started looking down the wrong path. I was very foolish, doing the wrong things, being in the wrong part of town. I just wanted a thrill. I was searching for something worldly. I was searching for deep inside. I wanted to be somebody. I wanted to be a people pleaser. Hanging out with the wrong crowds and stuff, and eventually something tugged on my heart to come back to my biological home again after probably about a year. So I came here, I made new friends that weren't really friends at all. They ended up stabbing me in the back, and I went through a lot of stuff, drinking, drugs, a bunch of stuff like that. And I remember one night, this went on, my wife had just, by this point I got married to a girl I met at Cadillac High School and everything, my wife Christine. And she had finally had her son, and I remember I was never around to help her. I was always out with friends, trying to see how drunk I could get, and it led to some pretty scary situations. But each time something bad would happen when I was drunk or something, I never put two and two together. I just wanted to do it again, My house actually ended up getting broken into, and it was a really big scare because of the path I was taking. We got a bunch of stuff stolen, and friendships were severed, and it was just horrible. Anyways, I started working at this one place, this restaurant, and I remember the boss, as a celebration, I had been a part of this new restaurant open, and the boss and one of my other friends I made, they wanted to go out drinking and having a good time. So this became a normal thing for us to do drugs and get drunk and just bar hop. Yeah, that's how it is. This was part one, and I'll have part two shortly. Thank you.